"19 years ago, Phil Elvrums sung the lyrics, 'My roots are strong and deep,' on his critically acclaimed masterpiece, The Globe Part 2. 19 years later, with his newest project under the once thought to be retired name of The Microphones, this is more than evident. The Microphones in 2020 is the fifth studio album from Elverum under The Microphones name, running just under the 45-minute mark. This is his first album under the Microphones name in nearly 15 years, with the last one being Mount Erie. Since the project has retired, Elverum has released music under the artist name Mount Erie. As Mount Erie, he's released 10 albums since 2005, with his most critically acclaimed work under that name being A Crow Looked at Me. The Microphones in 2020 starts with an 8-minute long, soft acoustic guitar loop. I believe it's intended that you watch the video that premiered live on YouTube while you listen to the song. The video shows Phil just putting photos on a table, showing us, the audience, personal memories throughout his life that he's obtained. He breaks that introductory trance, though, with the words, "The true state of all things. I keep on not dying. The sun keeps on rising. I remember my life as if it's just some dreams that I don't trust. Burning off, layered thick. A cargo that I haul. Wounds and loves unresolved." These words, combined with the photos, along with every line he says, should immediately let you know what this album is going to be. Introspective, somber, and personal. For those that don't know, A Crow Looked at Me is so critically acclaimed due to the subject matter and circumstances. It's a concept album about the death of Phil's wife, the Canadian cartoonist and musician Genevieve Castry. The album was written and produced entirely by Phil, who recorded it, using mostly Castry's instruments and notes he had compiled about Castry in the room in which she died. It's an incredibly hard album to listen to. So hard, in fact, that many reviewers didn't even want to try to take it on, as they felt it would be disrespectful to both Phil and his deceased wife. I say all this to let you guys know that Phil isn't afraid or new to being introspective and letting his deepest thoughts convey themselves through his music. He's been doing that for nearly 25 years now, and the Microphones in 2020 has plenty of it. People are always quick to complain when reviewers constantly compare artists' work to their previous works, for example, comparing Damn to Pimp a Butterfly. But in this particular instance, I believe comparison is only necessary. This album basically serves as an autobiography for Phil's life, as he calls back to his days as a teenager or when he was living in his early 20s, which is also literally when all the Microphones albums came out. Some criticize Phil for making this under the Microphones name, but anyone who listens to this album should be easily able to explain why. This album is chock full of callbacks and lines from previous Microphones and Mount Erie songs. Some examples would be like, "It's not that bad, but I know I wanted to go deeper beneath pain. Beneath the Human," which is a reference to the Mount Erie song Dragon, where he says beneath the human. Or talking about when recording The Glow Part 2, he sang, "Spend all day and night digging in, distorted bass, spliced tape," singing lines like "There's no end," which is in like pretty much every Microphones and Mount Erie song, and "I won't look for you in my room," which is a reference to "I'll Not Contain You," which is another song on The Glow Part 2. About my friends. And of course he makes a call out to probably the most memorable lyric, probably his most infamous lyric, "When I took my shirt off in the yard, I meant it, and it's still off. I'm still standing in the weather, looking for meaning in the giant meaningless. Days of love and loss repeatedly water falling down, and the sun relentlessly rises still." This line is widely known because it comes from the climax of the second song on The Glow Part 2, which is also the title track. And Phil makes it clear here that him taking his shirt off in the yard is meant to signify that he has pulled back all his layers and thoughts and emotions for the world to see without worrying about what others think or care about. He says that all he's worried about is trying to find his place in this giant seemingly meaningless world. Phil is no stranger to painting mental pictures with his words. And throughout this album, the photos he shows as the song goes along help let the listener and watcher imagine more wildly than ever before. When he told a story about how his family took him and his brother hiking to a beach, and then describing how he could smell the salt and the smoke of a fire after they'd all played in the cold water afterwards, or when he describes when he was on tour in northern Italy, how he'd sneak away at a gas station to squint at the sunset and slowly fill a notebook up, or even a little more bizarrely, he says he took the physical microphone's name, wrote it up and crumbled it up to burn in a random cave in Norway. All of these descriptions, combined with the beat synchronized photo placement, make for a truly visceral and personal watching and listening experience. This entire is filled to the brim with these moments, from the first moment he speaks to his last breath on the album. These are just the examples that stood out to me, but seriously, there are tons of these everywhere, all over the album. Instrumentally, the album is gorgeous. The introductory riff is, as I said earlier, trance-inducing. The same riff repeats throughout most of the song. There are a few explosions of sound throughout the album, but it's really a steady and easy listening experience. The explosions of sound really are something to behold, though, when they do happen. The first of which happens around the 11-minute mark of the album, where an electric guitar and bass can be heard slowly strumming to the same pace of the acoustic guitar. The best explosion, quote unquote, in the entire song is a slow and ethereal ambient buildup of all types of instruments, and this starts around the 27-minute mark. It's just a beautiful and slow instrumental buildup of what sounds like accordions and harmonicas and different stringed instruments. The same acoustic guitar is very faintly there in the background, and you can also hear some faint keys behind it as well in the background. And then slowly it just fades out around the 29-minute mark and goes back into the same standard acoustic riffs that can be heard exactly the same at the beginning of the album. All in all, this album finds beauty in almost everything that's sung about. Every line is literally a quotable, and it feels so relatable and personal. Phil takes you on an honest ride about his entire life up to this point, and I loved every second of it. I love this album, and I hope you will too. I really do need some more time to sit with it, but I am honestly feeling a strong 9 on this record. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this rant. So yeah, thank you for listening.